Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Look Good Naked coaching program. I am your host here. Most of you know me. I'm Liz Nierzwicki. That's how you say my name. And I am so extremely excited that you are here, you guys. This is the beginning for you. And this is going to be, I'm not going to lie, this is going to be a big 8 weeks. And I need your attention. Your body, your mind, your soul needs your attention. There is so much that I'm going to be sharing with you over the next 8 weeks. And in this program, I have complete programs within each week. So this figureFIT Sugar Detox is a 30-day journey. And we're going to go over it here today in this hour-long, however long this takes, coaching call. And I just need you to know that each of these things are of critical importance for you on this journey to building the body you want, having the health that you want, and then finally revealing it in the end when you're healthy and you know how to eat, you know how to build the body by doing the right kind of fat loss. Okay? So this is big, and I need all hands on deck. I need your attention. Turn your phones on silence, put them on airplane mode, and take them off Wi-Fi because distractions still come through. So it is so important for you to just really pay attention for what I'm going to be covering in this session here with you. So the figureFIT Sugar Detox is really critical for you regulating your blood sugar and really figuring out this whole thing of how your energy is supposed to feel. You know, we grew up in a society of, let me back up. If you're from America, you grew up with a ton of man-made foods, a ton of carbohydrates. And there's a lot of healthy foreign countries that actually eat carbohydrates. We're going to get into that in week 2 when we talk about different types of foods and plants and where things come from and how they affect the body. But for now, we're just going to focus on sugar, the carbohydrates that do turn into sugar. And we're going to go through this. Now, I'd like for you guys, I'm going to stop a couple of times during the presentation and see if there are any questions. And if there are, I will go ahead and answer those maybe at that moment or definitely at the end. I will take all the questions at the end. And like I promised, I don't want to have anybody left behind. So if we don't get to your question, it is so important that you reach out in the Facebook community on one of the leading posts from my team, the post that talks about where to place your question, and put your question in there so that I can make sure I see it and that my team and I can make sure that we handle all of your questions, okay? So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so this bunch of sugar here, I hope that doesn't make you want to have any of that. What that does to me is make me go, ugh. So I just want to welcome Monica Esquivel. She is a dietitian who wrote the foreword to this program. She did this program back when I launched this at my yoga studio in 2013. She loved the program so much that she asked if she could write the foreword to this program. And I said, absolutely. She's one of the people who completed it, lost weight, really got super focused on her eating and her mission on what she went to school for, because it is so easy for even myself, for anybody who has studied this stuff, because we're all human, let's face it, we're all human, we all like sweets, to get off, even when we know something isn't the best for us. We all do it. And really quickly, I want to point out to you that if you do have any questions, post them in the private group page. If you have anything about reproduction of this or having myself speak at your business or do any sort of speaking event for you, your team, your business, please go ahead and reach out to myself through my team at info@liznierzwicki.com. All right, you guys. So here we got the table of contents, and this is just really showing you where a quick reference guide to where everything is in this program manual. Here's Monica's foreword, and then a little bit about me. I wanted to just put this note in here because, you know, when you start a sugar detox, It is not the easiest thing. I went into this with a lot of preparation before I even began. I had to psych myself up for it. So if you're not going to start this today or this week, it's okay. I want you to be prepared. So in your preparation, you will succeed. For me, I think some of you have heard about this, but my very first time that I did this, I was pretty prepared, but there was an event that we had at my house, and I just did not have enough vegetables. And I used some pita chips for guacamole. And that was a chosen cheat on that day. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to see how this makes me feel. I'm going to see what this does to my energy, to my mindset, to, if do I get foggy headed? And just with that one little cheat, I knew that I had to do it again. I knew that I had to go full out and do it again. And so the second time I did it 100% to the T. And in the first one, I lost 4 pounds. And the second one, I lost 7. And what was really amazing for me is that I felt incredible. I got into a fat burning zone, and my energy was sustainable. My energy was so amazing because I wasn't having the dips in my energy because of the highs and lows of what the glucose does in your body. So you guys, I'm just so grateful for you to be here. And, when I studied nutrition science back at Indiana University back in 1998, I learned so much about nutrition and the science of nutrition. But back at that time, we also really did not know that much about the gut microbiome that we do now. And I have been studying nutrition science ever since my program at IU. It's just something that has always been close to my heart. And the reason being is because I have always struggled with food. When I was really little, I struggled with food. I struggled with my weight and feeling good about myself in my own skin. And so it was something that when I decided to go to college and I saw that Indiana University had a pre-med nutrition science program, I said, yes, that is for me because I need to master this. And so I studied. I went to school pre-med for nutrition science at Indiana University. And, back in, oh boy, how old was I? So it would have been 88. I was 10 years old. I did my very first diet. I thought of binging. And I actually did it. I was home alone. And I was like, maybe I can do this. I don't know what got into my mind, you guys. I have no idea. But all I knew is that I wanted to look like the perfect California beach model. It's what I wanted so badly. And I just knew that I wasn't doing the right things. I knew I wasn't controlling my food the way I needed to. I had this sweet tooth. After dessert, when I was little, my grandma always had the worst desserts for us. And it was something that I didn't realize until I was older that post-dinner dessert was not needed. And that was a form of showing love to us. And I needed to find a way to show my love to myself in a way that didn't involve treats. So you guys, did you hear that? That was a huge nugget that took me years and years and years to learn. We are shown love through food. So when you find yourself binging, or you find yourself needing love from somewhere, someplace, or you're feeling unworthy and you go to the refrigerator, or you procrastinate, or you buy the chocolate, or you go to the ice cream store to reward yourself, you have to take a look at that and you have to learn where that came from. And can you love yourself in a different way? Yes, you can. So it's really a matter of awareness and learning what and where you were shown love as a child, and then begin to show yourself love in a new way. It doesn't have to be through food. It can be through something else, because now you have goals, and now you know whether your goals are to be healthy, to open a business, to be on the cover of a magazine, to be that California beach model, or just to have abs. You have goals now, and now you have the tools. So what we're doing here is really bigger than just this sugar detox. It's awareness. It is really setting up ourselves to win at this thing so that we know where our struggles lie, where our triggers are, where we need things, and then moving forward from there. Okay, you can read that story on your own, but that nugget I gave to you guys just now is huge, and I am here to help you find your way, find your path, and really begin to master this game called nutrition. So when you do the sugar detox, like I said, you have to first commit. You have to prepare. You have to be able to have the foods available to you in your kitchen, get rid of the things that have a tendency to sabotage you. And those would be things like Oreos, for me, Doritos, crackers, chips, things that are not on the yes list. They've got to go. You got to get them out of the house, because if they're there and you are in a binge, you're going to grab them. It's just going to be done out of habit. Not because you're a bad person. It's just going to be done out of habit because it's something that you're so used to doing over however long you've been living. So we have to prepare, and set yourself up to win, having the foods available. Now, in days 1 to 2, you're going to be dealing with a lot of mindset stuff. And I like to say that you're going to have the little devil on your shoulder and the little angel on the other shoulder. One of them is going to be supportive, and one of them is going to be so sabotaging. You don't need to do this. Why do you think you need to do this? You're fine the way you are. You can do this for 2 days. Who cares if you fail? But then you're going to have the angel, your spirit, your higher self, the you want to be on the other shoulder, calling you forward, saying, no, you got this. You can do this. Step up. Give me a break. It's only 30 days. Come on, you can do this. So now I want to show you how you can kind of set yourself up to win in a way that will call you forward and really pull you forward. You got to know your inspiration. How are you inspired? What inspires you? If it is a person, listen to their podcast or read their Instagram stuff every single day. If it is the Bible that inspires you, dive in and read passages every single day. Go pray on them, go meditate them, but find what inspires you. So for me, it's a combination of things in the morning, from waking up, doing some deep breathing, pranayama exercises, and then doing some mental mantras, because I don't wake up with the happiest mindset every day. I've got to do the work. I have to wake up and say things like, I allow the love today. I'm allowing all the love. I'm allowing life to show me love. I am happy today. I am guided today. I am loved. I am worthy. I am accepted. I am on the right path. I'm going to show up. I commit to myself. So this is how I wake myself up as I'm getting out of bed, walking around, breathing, and my body starts to wake up. And then sometimes I go and I read, and then I pour inspiration out of my body in the form of a podcast. Or sometimes I go and I work out and I pour more inspiration into my mind via podcasts, via listening to people that inspire me. And then I'm tuned in to my spirit, to my higher self, and I'm ready to go for the day. So I encourage you to start your day like that and just attack your day like that. And if you fall off by noon or you fall off by 2, revisit the things that tuned you in to your higher self. Okay? This is a part of what I'll be covering in week 8, the self-love module. So in days 1 to 2, you're going to have some symptoms, and sometimes you won't have those in days 1 to 2. You might even have them in days 3 to 4. It is going to be different for everybody. So really going to be different based on who you are, how much sugar you have in your body, how many carbs you have on a daily basis, and just really, your mindset. It all works together, from our energy to the foods we put into our body to our digestive system and to our habits, our mental habits. Okay, days 1 to 2, these symptoms do pass. I want to encourage you there. You might have headaches, you might be irritable, you might be hangry, low energy, you might even have constipation because you're changing things up. You might have bloating, You might have phlegm, skin rashes, feeling of weakness, or even cravings of sugar. And I want to add to this that you're going to have that, once again, that saboteur on your shoulder that's telling you don't need to do this. It's going to be telling you stories of, I need sugar because of this. It's just a story. You can get through it. I promise you. Now, days 1 to 4, you're going to start having less sugary cravings. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have a better mood. You're going to be more focused. You're going to be able to tune in better to your higher self. You're going to have bowel movements that become regular and a lot less bloat. And even you might start to notice some clearer skin. Now, I want to just pause here for a moment and say higher self again, because some people might think that, not believe in that, but you all know what I'm talking about. You all know when you feel that inspiration coming from within. Some people call it soul. Some people call it the Holy Spirit. Some people call it the universe or God. Whatever it is for you, know that you connect to it by tuning in and aligning your body, your mind, and your soul together. And that, the more you do this, you guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be like the biggest light bulb. You're going to realize more than ever your personal process of how you get tuned in. Okay. Now, the symptoms after this detox is over are going to absolutely be fat loss. It's just going to be fat loss. I promise you, you're going to lose some weight. Now, I have to say this to you because it's so important. Ditch the scale for the entire program. Weigh yourself in the beginning and do not weigh yourself until the end. Commit to the process. Commit to the foods that you're allowed to have. And then weigh yourself one time, and that is it. And then in the end, if you are curious about that. See, for me, I'm not curious. I used to be, but there's a process that happens when you start really, really getting fit. It becomes about how you feel. When you start losing the weight, you're like, oh, great, I'm doing what works. And then the number isn't as important as how you feel and the energy that you have and how you fit in your clothing. And I want to take that one step further while we're all here, looking good naked. So if you're comfortable with the way that you look in the mirror, then the scale weight does not matter. It just does not matter. It can just be a benchmark that you turn to occasionally just to see where you're at, just to keep that homeostasis of where you want to be. I think that is really important for you to take hold of and use that as a tool, because so many people are a slave to that scale, and it is destroying your mindset, is destroying your happiness. So take these notes down and only use this as a tool, as a benchmark. Okay. Now, you're going to have some massive energy. And for me, when I did this detox and I got into fat burning, I felt it. It was about 4 days in, I had massive clarity and massive energy, and I wasn't hungry. I was like, this is amazing. How do I feel this way when I'm just not hungry? Well, it's an amazing feeling when you start getting into fat burning and you start burning ketones in your body. Ketones are a fuel that the body can utilize just like it utilizes glucose. And we will talk more about this in week, I think it's 6 in the Nutrition Science Week of how the body operates and what the body operates off of. That will be the Nutrition Science and Exercise Science modules. So you guys are going to have amazing energy. So right now, don't worry about that too much. Just start this program. You're going to have less bloat and a flatter belly. Amen. You are going to notice that your belly is slimming down, and that little rollover that likes to roll over your jeans is going to start going away. If not, it will go away. And you're going to start to reveal those abs that you're working so hard to build in these figureFIT workouts. All right, you're going to see clearer skin. One of the things that happens is people, their rosacea, psoriasis, the bumps on the back of people's triceps, those begin to go away because people start to get rid of the foods that are causing those symptoms in the skin. You're going to have cravings for healthy food. And the things that you once ate, once you eat them again, you might actually find they're not appealing to you anymore. They might seem overly sweet to you. I used to not really care too much about the different kinds of chocolates. I could do milk chocolate just fine. And once I did the sugar detox, I completely gave up the milk chocolate because it has way too much sugar in it. And I ate only dark chocolate, which was like 73 to 80% higher in cocoa. And it was one of the best things because I completely was able to taste the difference in my taste buds, even with apples or, um, oh man, dessert. When I did have dessert again, the dessert sometimes was too much and I'd have one bite and I had to make it go away. I had to make it go away. I had to throw it away. I had to get rid of it because it was just too sweet for me. Now, like this goes along with increased sense of taste. This sense of taste is going to make so many things taste better, from spinach to kale to the soup that you have to the salmon that you have. You're going to be able to taste salt. Hello. You're going to be able to taste the spices in your food. This is going to clear up your bowel movements. A lot of people come to me for help with their bowel because healing the gut is one of the things that I do. I talk about that in my book. I suffered from constipation for a very big majority of my youth. And once I healed myself and began healing others, so this was back in 99, I write about this in my book, I began my healing process for my bowel and my digestion and my gut. I began the healing process and it took years and years to figure this out. And this is why I do what I do now. This is why the basis of this program is gut healing and health. That's the basis here. That is the bottom of our pyramid, and we're going up from here, you guys, because this is the utmost importance. So regulating your digestive system, getting rid of IBS, getting rid of irritable bowel disease, irritable bowel syndrome, different problems like constipation, all of these things can be fixed. And we are going to talk about all of that here in this program. You're going to just feel better, okay? You're going to have an increased sense of well-being. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have lower cholesterol, and your clothes are going to fit better. Now, one of the things I want to say about clothes fitting better is this. There is no greater freedom than going into your closet and knowing that a pair of jeans is going to fit you, that that dress is going to fit you, that you don't have to worry about having the outfit because you know that you have it in there and it will fit you. So this is my goal for you. It's just to get you knowledgeable of all of these things that are going to help you get healthy, that are going to help you get fit, and that are going to help you reveal the body that you will love on the beach. Okay? This is my mission for you. And when we do this, those clothes, you're going to have one size and one size that you are happy about in your closet. Okay? This is amazing. It's an amazing thing, an amazing feeling to have that. It's freedom to go in and out of that closet and know that those things are going to fit you. All right. Now, probably one of the biggest benefits of this sugar detox is long-term health. We are fixing so much by doing this. You can end depression. You can reduce your risk of cancer or eliminate cancer. You can send cancer into remission because cancer feeds off of sugar. Those cancer cells feed off sugar. You guys will lose weight. That will help your health. You will have your diabetes risk. If you are at risk right now, if diabetes has been in your family, you are going to do great things for yourself. And if you have children, for your children and your spouse and anybody you know, anybody who is in your circle, by doing this sugar detox, you're going to be the leader among your people. All right, and now decreased risk of heart disease. And you guys, this one isn't talked about enough, but the better you are with your health, the better you take care of your body and your stress levels, your risk of heart disease is going to diminish. Okay? So if there's a person here weighing about 200 pounds, and if you lose about 14 to 20 pounds, you will greatly reduce your risk of any and all diseases. So the first couple of days of this detox, what I call a healing crisis is what you might be going through in days 1 to 4 with the headaches, the hangriness, the constipation. But I just want to promise you, it will pass. And honestly, you need to look at this as you are healing, that this is something your body has to do. You got to get through this. This is a detox, and you got to get through this phase. And once you get over that hump, then it's smooth sailing, and then it's just managing your mindset and then making the right choices. Because you guys, the body cleans itself from the inside out, and it begins with your digestive system. It begins there, and then it moves out to your other cells in the body. And it begins in your gut. Those cells die off in 3 days to 3 weeks. And then it begins to go into your muscles and your liver and your organs and your kidneys and your heart and your brain. Everything begins to change and heal from the inside out. So here's what we do. We get started. We use this getting started guide to set ourselves up to win. So now that you've taken the first steps and you are here, just know that it's a process. And like I said earlier, you do have to prepare. So what we're doing is we are eliminating sugars and refined carbohydrates for the next month. And you will follow the yes food list. There's going to be a no list as well. And I have to add something to that no list that's not on there, but it should be on there. So we'll have to update this and put this on the no list for the next module download. And that is alcohol. You can't have any of that right now. Sorry, but you can't. It turns to sugar in the body. And so what we're doing here, you guys, is we are getting out of this cycle of sugar cravings and salts by regulating the blood sugar and giving you an amazing new energy, and also giving you the ability to tap into stored body fat for fuel. So the first couple days are hard. And like I said earlier, you're going to notice your habits. And one of the things that I said in my Facebook Live is that this is way more than just regulating your sugar. It's such an eye-opener to your habits and your triggers of what makes you turn to those foods. But I promise you, this gets easier. And I would suggest even having a journal at the end of every day so that you can write down where you won and what happened during the day that made you want to falter, or where you did falter. It's important to know, and then in your mind before you go to bed at night, you need to look at that situation and you need to tell yourself what you would do differently, because that is where we begin to reprogram our new self. Okay? All right, so what I'm going to have you do, prepare. Plan, shop, prepare your meals and your snacks ahead of time. Every week on the figureFIT program, Sunday is food prep day. So maybe prepare on a Saturday, look at what you want to eat for that week, and then go to the grocery store and then take an hour to cut up your vegetables and get that stuff ready for you so that you can have it easy when you need it. Because where we fail is when we forget to plan. And we also fail in those moments where we are so starving and we're in a binge and we just grab any old thing. And that's why getting rid of the no foods and not having them around during this time is important for you. Now, that might be hard for some of you because you have family and children that you feed sugary foods to. And maybe they don't want to do this sugar detox. Well, you've got two options. You can incorporate the whole family and make this a family affair that everybody is doing together for the good of your health. Or you can separate the foods and make sure that those foods are nowhere in sight of you during this period of time. And really encourage your family to support you on this journey. Hide the foods, keep them away from you, and don't allow them to show you where they are. Okay, that is really important. So you can prepare larger meals ahead of time so that you have leftovers. And that is something that we do in the figureFIT program on Sundays, figureFIT food prep day. And if you have a big family, make a massive amount of food. Because if you have growing teenagers like I do, then you need to prepare the food so that you're going to have something for yourself, so that you're going to get there and it's not going to be gone. All right. So you're not going to be overly hungry. You're going to eat plenty of lean proteins. And if you're a vegetarian, we've got a list in here for foods that you can eat. You're going to eat basically unlimited amounts of vegetables and anything else from the Yes Foods. And I want you to make sure that you're really not limiting yourself right now. This isn't a diet. It's just a detox from sugars. So if you are having a day where you're starving, then have a lot of foods that are on the yes list, because maybe you just need it. Maybe your body needs it. Maybe it's a mental thing and you're used to that stuffed feeling and you're used to doing that with bad foods. Do it with the yes foods. Just do it if you need to do it, you guys. It's really a matter of honoring ourselves where we are and having massive awareness in this process. Okay? So go through the attached program manual, the recipes, and then head to the grocery store. Some of the ingredients you may not have heard of, and you may need to find them. You can find some on Amazon or in your local health food store, such as Whole Foods, and do this now so that you have what you need during your week. And honestly, you guys, do this all the time. Make Food Prep Sunday a regular part of your lifestyle. And we're going to talk about this in week 4 when we're setting up the warrior way, the way of the figureFIT warrior, because this has to be a lifestyle for you. This is why my online program is called the figureFIT Lifestyle Program, because it's a way of life. And if we don't make this a way of life and how we're going to handle different situations when we're at those moments, then we're never going to win at this. We're always going to be a slave to the scale. We're always going to be a slave to diets. And I promise you, you can win at this game. All right, so you guys, it's said that it takes 21 days to break a habit or to create a new one. So that is why we're doing this for 1 month, to really, really make this lifestyle change stick for you. Because if you only do this sugar detox for a couple of days, you're not going to notice the difference. You're just not. You've got to get through that healing crisis. You've got to challenge yourself to step up to that start line and to really go for this. Go for the win. And if you don't challenge yourself, how do you ever grow? Because what's going to happen is day by day, you're going to get stronger. And week by week, you're going to make better choices. But really, the magic is in the process. The magic is in the moments where you face you and you see yourself wanting to cheat and you see yourself wanting to just sit back and not step up for what your goal really is. And your goal is to feel amazing, to be healthy, and to look great naked. That's your goal. So let's do this, you guys. I just want to encourage you that you can. And if at any time you ever fail and you fall off, that is the time where compassion has to rule, where you cannot beat yourself up. Now, sometimes, like for myself, I am pretty powerful with myself. And I've realized that works. It does. But when I am mean to myself, that doesn't work for me. I can sit there and go, listen, Liz, you have got to do this. Who else is going to do this if it is not you? There was a time one day when I was in my bathroom and I literally cracked and I was like, oh my God, it's you. You are the way. You're the truth. You're the light. It's you against you. And only you can make this decision to move forward, to show up, to shine, to make the right choice, to do the workout, to do the program, to, whatever it is that I want to do. Only I can step up and make the choice. So you guys, I promise you that you can do this. Okay. So let me move into a little bit why we are focusing on sugar. Okay. So all sugars, you guys, all carbohydrates and artificial sweeteners. Yes, that diet soda. Yes, that stevia. Yes, the agave nectar. All of it can contribute to weight gain and or prohibit weight loss. So be careful what you put in your mouth, because every single time that you put that, research shows that every time you have a sweet sensation, that you cause insulin to release in the body, whether it has a calorie or it is a non-caloric item. So when the body releases insulin, we are then in a fat storage mode, because insulin causes the body to store nutrients into our cells. Insulin is it's like the gateway sending nutrients in and out of the brain. So insulin takes glucose into the brain, and that's why people say we need carbs. Okay, well, to a degree, we need a little bit, yes, but guess what doesn't need insulin to fuel the brain? Ketones. And ketones are released when you're in fat burning. Okay, so here's what happens when we eat sugar or carbohydrates that turn into sugar. Let me turn this up. Our blood glucose, our blood sugar increases. Then, so when we eat carbs or anything that turns to sugar, our blood sugar level increases. So people say I have low blood sugar. Well, you got to get regulated. Okay, we're going to talk about that. And if you've been on the cycle of highs and lows, then your blood sugar absolutely has to get regulated. And you might find in the days 1, 2, 3, or 4 that you are low energy and you are cranky because you have been on a roller coaster of sugar. So we have to get through that, and we have to regulate you. Now, we eat the sugar or the carbs, our blood glucose level increases. Okay, that means there's sugar in the blood. So then what happens is our pancreas releases insulin in a response to this carb that we have eaten. And then the insulin released begins to take the glucose out of the blood and bring it into the cells. So during times of physical activity, our bodies actually can use that glucose for energy. But the majority of the time, the glucose is stored as fat. And that fat accumulates over time, leading to weight gain or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is the start of a host of chronic issues like diabetes, high blood cholesterol, and high triglycerides. This is why I recommend eating carbs around the time you will be working out to fuel your workout or replace the lost glycogen. And most other times, you guys, the excess carbs are going to be stored as fat and they're not needed. Okay, so let me dive into this for a moment. Actually, I'll come back to it. Number 4, our blood sugar level returns to the approximate level of what it wants to be at, which is 1 teaspoon of glucose in our bloodstream at any given time. So you eat the sugar, glucose goes into the bloodstream. Insulin is released because it's trying to get rid of the glucose in the blood. And then insulin starts to store the sugar, the glucose, into the cells. Okay? It's going to send that sugar to your muscles first and then your liver, and then the rest will get stored as fat. If your muscles are already stored up with carbs, they're not going to need any more. If your liver already has enough carbs and it doesn't need any more, then the rest of it gets stored as fat. Okay? Then, once the insulin and the pancreas and everything has done its job, then the body returns to an average of about 1 teaspoon of glucose in the bloodstream, just kind of running around. I like to think of it as just kind of hanging out in the bloodstream. So, you guys, fact, our body needs homeostasis and is always trying to get back to homeostasis. So when you have a bunch of carbs and you have a high carb meal or a high carb day, you are sabotaging your bloodstream. You are, because your body doesn't want that. Now, we're going to talk about like low carb and keto replenishment later on in this program, but just know that the science of the body is your body doesn't want more than 1 teaspoon of glucose at any given time, and it's going to do what it needs to do to get rid of it. And that is the majority of the time storing that as fat. All right. Now let me get back to number 3. I want to talk about eating carbs about around the time that you will be working out. We will talk more about this in weeks 5 and 6 when we're talking about the nutrition science and the exercise science program. Now, I just need to make a point here. If you only have carbs before a workout, you will be in massive pain. Not pain, blood sugar pain, hypoglycemia, hyperglycemia, diabetic warning signs, because you cannot just feed the body carbs because you're about to go work out. Because what's going to happen is you're going to increase your blood sugar, then you're going to go below your normal homeostasis line, and you're going to crash. And that crash can lead to massive problems. It can lead to hypoglycemia, which can lead to death. Okay, that's when you peak so high in your blood and then you drop so low that you have to actually have carbs again to get yourself back up. So this is one of the reasons why we have to be regulated and not do extremes. Now, what we do is we build our meals around protein and vegetables, and then if it is before a workout, we can have some carbohydrates, and we don't always need that. When you're a fat burner, we're going to talk about this later, you don't always need the carbs before a workout. But after your workout, that's when you have earned them. So I want you to start thinking about that, okay? Your body usually is always at homeostasis. It usually has enough carbohydrates in the system, in the muscles, in the liver. And so most of the time when you eat carbohydrates, if you have not depleted them, you have too many. All right, so just kind of think about that. Now, obviously, this is different for kids, not very different. The science isn't different, but growing kids need all the macros, all of them, at every meal, okay? All right, you guys, so now we're going to move on to a little bit more about why sugar is so bad. It's an empty calorie. It is not on the nutritional pyramid, and even the nutritional pyramid out there is not good. Nobody should be following the government's nutritional pyramid. They shouldn't, because it talks about grains. So look up a paleo pyramid or a primal pyramid. Sugar is just simply not there. It is not a recommended nutrient. Good carbohydrates are, such as apples and sweet potatoes and bananas and vegetables and things, berries, things like that, that are actually needed when they're needed. So when we take sugar in, our body has to expend the energy to process the molecules consumed, and sugar also lowers your immune system, making it harder to fight off disease. So one of the things that I tell my clients is, even I like to talk about around the holidays, is they call it flu season, but I really think that it is sugar season. Low immune system, because all of the sweets that we are eating at those times. And I want to just, encourage you at those times, find some different recipes that aren't calling for standard sugar, that can use a different type of, a good type of a sugar. Okay, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Now, for this program, what about sugar replacements? Can we take in artificial sweeteners, Liz? No, sorry, but the body sometimes doesn't know how to break down an artificial sweetener. It's a chemical, and what happens is the body releases insulin anyways. And so the exact same thing is happening when you have a diet or an artificial sweetener. That would happen if you ate the sugar. And a lot of people just don't get that. You guys, and there's a study out there that says people who drink diet soda actually have a larger waistline than the people who drink real soda. Now, I'm definitely not encouraging any soda drinking whatsoever, but that just goes to show you that when people think they're doing a good thing by having that, artificial sweetener, they're not. They're actually doing a disservice to their body, and they're not doing really anything for their health. So you guys, cut these things out immediately and do not reintroduce them into your diet. They're just chemicals. They're chemicals in your system, and they're actually far worse than any natural sugar. So non-chemical sweeteners such as raw honey can be metabolized by our bodies, while the chemical sweeteners such as aspartame cannot. And they are a toxin in the system. And as with all toxins that enter our system, they're going to be stored in our fat cells. So when you start losing fat, that's also why we go through the healing crisis, because we are getting rid of toxins as well. Okay. So for those of you who are about to lose a bunch of fat and about to do a serious detox, I would like to just offer this suggestion. Purchase some deactivated charcoal, and you can get that through Amazon. And you will also have in week 6 or 7 a supplement guide to all the supplements that I recommend on this program, and with links to purchase all of them. So this is something that is absolutely critical for those of you who are doing a big detox and you do have a lot of fat to lose. Sometimes the healing crisis can be pretty awful, and it's important to know this ahead of time and to prepare. Okay. Oh, there's that study. Okay. So it says that people with who consume diet soda had a 70% larger waistline than those who don't. That's by the University of Texas. All right, I'm going to move on. Can you have any sweeteners? Well, not while you're on this figureFIT sugar detox. After this is over, if you'd like to have an occasional treat and you want to reintroduce something, stick with these natural sweeteners below. And remember that all sweeteners, caloric or non, can contribute to the weight gain and can really stall any sort of weight loss or even fitness goals that you might have. So even when you're not on the sugar detox, it's always best to minimize your exposure to sweeteners. And basically because of the cravings that they elicit in the highs and lows of the roller coaster that you're going to get on by eating them, and also the sugar cycle that begins over and over again every single time you have the sugar. So get regulated in your blood sugar and stay there. Get into a fat burning. And in my book, I talk about becoming a fat burner. If you have my book, start reading that. Start just reading ahead, you guys, so that you're really knowledgeable of this whole process. And we will be covering this later on in the fat loss module. So here are some non-chemical sweeteners that are natural: raw honey, molasses, date sugar, palm sugar, coconut sugar, fruit juices, maple syrup, cane sugar, and green leaf stevia, unprocessed. So the chemical sweeteners are aspartame, saccharin, stevia. Yep, stevia is, you guys, sorry. Splenda, sucralose. Never use these. Get rid of them. They are poison. Your gut does not recognize them. They are a toxin in your system. Okay, just get rid of them. Now, what are you going to do on a daily basis? You got to have a daily regimen. So we prepared. Okay, that's what we did. We began by preparing. And now we're going to get into a process of a daily regimen. A huge daily regimen that allows us to stick to this process. So what I want you to do is plan on starting every single day with a huge glass of water. Whether it's plain or you add a half of a lemon, you need to drink water. So much water, and usually about your body weight in water. Yes, your body weight in water. I love adding lemon to my water in the morning. I don't do it all the time because it's not always the best for the teeth. But having lemon water is one of the best things that you can do for your skin, your digestion, and also eliminating toxins, and let alone the vitamin C that you'll be getting from the lemon. Have your meals planned out for the day. You already did the food prep Sunday. You are ready. You've got meals ready to go. If you have vegetables, have your carrots cut, your celery cut, have the Brussels sprouts prepared and cooked. So all you got to do is nuke them or just eat them the way they are. You guys, I love making a huge salad and putting in a huge bowl that we can eat off of for a couple of days. And usually I do food prep on Sundays and also midweek as well. Drink a ton of water throughout the day. Get something. Have a huge, like recyclable water jug that you carry around with you. Now, if your goal is weight loss, like I said a minute ago, Start drinking about 1 ounce of water for every single pound that you weigh. Yes, I said it. Now, in the beginning, you are going to be really married to the toilet until your body starts to regulate. And once again, you will be going to the bathroom quite a bit during the first couple of days. But once your body starts getting used to all the water, it has an amazing ability to just get into homeostasis with what you're offering it. Now, when you feel hungry in between your meals, drink water first, because usually we're hungry. Usually we're thirsty. We're not hungry. So drink water first, and then if you're still hungry after a huge glass of water, maybe about 15 minutes later, even set yourself a timer if you need to. Then have a snack, okay? There's nothing wrong with eating when you're hungry. Just make sure you're eating off of the yes foods. Now, if your goal is to get healthier, to lose weight, to tone your body, I highly recommend that you track your calories for 1 week and track what you're consuming on a daily basis. Make sure that you are hitting your macronutrients and that the macros are the amounts of carbs and fats and proteins that you're eating. And don't forget the fiber. We'll talk about fiber here in a moment. And this is required for your height and weight. Each person in here, we're going to cover macros in a couple of weeks when we do the nutrition science section, and everybody's going to know what their macros are and how to calculate them. So you can skip this part where it says if you need help figuring that out. We're going to do that in this Look Good Naked program. And if you're seeing this video anywhere else and you need help with that, just reach out to us. All right, guys, this is super important, and this is one of the things that I have to do myself for every single figureFIT workout. If you're completing intense cardio-based activities, such as the figureFIT workouts, or any high-intense intervals, or cross-training, or sprinting, you're going to need to add a few more carbohydrates around your workouts for energy. And this may include one of the following in your pre and post workout. So ladies, it's going to be about 24 to 30 grams of carbohydrates. And I want you to choose those carbohydrates from the yes list. And so you could have sweet potato, oatmeal, like I would say gluten-free oatmeal, and maybe wild rice and or butternut squash. Men, you can do about, I would say 30 to 50 carbohydrates from those same places, okay? Now, if you train really hard or multiple times per day, you're going to need to make this modification every single time that you exercise, okay? And you're really going to notice how you feel. So if you're feeling a little lethargic or low in energy, then you're going to need to add a little bit more carbs after your workout to get your body back into homeostasis and to refuel the lost glycogen from the muscle tissue. Okay, let me take a breather. I have been just nonstop. And give you guys a second to catch up. And for me to catch up. Okay, so your keys to success here. This is huge, and this is so needed. You need to begin by committing. The beginning of anything is always the most challenging part, in more ways than one, because you're going to have to mentally prepare yourself. You're going to, and I've been talking about this throughout this whole episode today, is that you're going to need to make new choices, especially if you're used to grabbing any old thing from the refrigerator. Preparation is going to be your biggest place of success in this entire process. You're going to need to prepare your meals ahead of time, have your water bottle ready for you. You're going to need to choose a day each week where you can do the food prep and spend that time that you need to make this a success. You guys, take the time to just slow down and to give yourself what you need. That's what you're here for. This is what you signed up for. And I just want to encourage you to do this for you because you made the choice. You're here. You made the choice to do better, to be better, to love yourself, to look good naked, to be healthy. So you have to show up for yourself. And you got to show up for yourself by doing the preparation that's going to be needed to win this race, okay? Rest and rejuvenation is going to be a big part of this. Yoga classes, plan to get 8 hours of sleep per night. Just look at your schedule, make this a priority. You can do restorative yoga or deep relaxation, and I'm going to give you guys one of those in a later module. It's going to be called Yoga Nidra. Meditate, schedule in some quiet time during your day, and maybe even try to get a massage once or twice a month. Okay. Nutrition, we talked about water. Lemon water, you're going to have healthy fats, tons of veggies, and no packaged foods. Exercise, I want you to move your body daily, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes of just walking, even if it's just air squats in your living room or push-ups and sit-ups. Just do 5 to 15 minutes minimum every single day. Get into your body and try this in the morning just so that you can see how that feels. Plan your week ahead of time. Plan the days you're going to work out. Plan it like an unbreakable appointment. If you look at my calendar, it'll make you crazy because it's crazy with everything I do. But I have scheduled workouts in, and those are non-breakable appointments. I don't break them for anything, anyone. They're there, and I'm committed to those. Okay, now cardio is important for your heart, and I like to aim for about 35 minutes 3 times per week, in addition to other forms of exercise. So the figureFIT workouts are high intense intervals, and those are absolutely helping your heart rate. And honestly, they're the best thing that you can do for your metabolism and your mitochondria. And we'll be talking about that later. But if you're curious about that, high intense interval training is the number one thing that you can do for your metabolism and for the mitochondria, which is the energy of every cell in your body. That's the energy. And so the high intense intervals are like coffee for your mitochondria. So the figureFIT workouts, the reason they are the way they are, you guys, the reason I have formulated them this way is because of the science behind what they're doing for the body and to the body and in the body, okay? So it's I used to say 1-2 punch, but now it's a 1-3 punch. You're boosting your metabolism, you're building muscle, which makes you burn more calories, and you are fueling your mitochondria, which we're now learning so much about. Okay, like I said before, keep a journal and track. Track what is going on. Track your food intake for the first week. Notice how you feel. Track if you ate breakfast or not, how you felt that day. Track your food cravings. It may be hormonal. Oh my gosh, I noticed this for myself. When it's around my monthly, I do crave more sweets. I crave chocolate. And it's so important for you, especially women out there, to really be aware of your cycle. And I like my period tracker. It's one of the things where I can go in and track when my period starts, when it ended, and any other things that I might be experiencing, such as cravings, tiredness, or even spotting. Okay, ladies, that's for you. Gentlemen, track your food cravings in your journal. Do this every single night. You guys, track your feelings and emotions when it comes to what is happening in your body. Track your physical activity, how long it was, what you did, how you felt before, and how you felt afterwards. And one more thing that I'd like you to keep track of is your triggers. Notice your triggers. This is so important. So if your boss says something and it makes you feel bad, or your spouse says something, or you have a thought, simply just having a thought will trigger you. Notice your triggers and start to ask yourself, is this true? Is this true for me? And instead of reacting to the trigger, dive into the reaction and ask yourself some questions. Just dive deeper. All right. Tips for eating at restaurants and having parties or going to a friend's house. So if you're starving before you head to a restaurant, you're going to get off track. It's just you're going to eat the bread, you're going to do something, you're going to eat the cracker that you don't want to have. So drink about 16 ounces of water before you leave the house, and maybe even have a handful of shaved almonds. The reason for shaved almonds is because you're getting rid of the lectin on the almond. Have some walnuts or have a bite of leftovers from the day before. And just do that. Put some water and some food in your belly so that you're not famished when you go to the grocery store or when you go to that restaurant. And always pass on the bread. And if they ask you, do you want bread? You can always say no, don't bring it, because having that temptation in front of you has a tendency to sabotage most people. Ask for appetizers that are oil on the side, oil and vinaigrette, or oil and vinegar on the side. And order your vegetables and your meats grilled. No breading, no sauces, and if they have sauce, just ask them to put it on the side. Nowadays, most restaurants are so accommodating and that you can pretty much get your food made the way you want it. And be the first to order, because sometimes hearing somebody else and what they're ordering can tempt you to make an unhealthy choice, or just commit to making the choice that you need to make that day. And if you're having a holiday function or a birthday or a cookout, make sure that you bring a couple of things that you can eat, and don't even worry about telling people that you're on a sugar detox. Just don't even tell them. Just bring what you know you can eat and share it, and everyone's going to appreciate it. All right. Now, why is protein so important? We're going to talk about this later on, but we're going to hit this today right now because this is so important for you to know. Protein is vital. It is the building block of every new cell that is being created in your body. So not just athletes, not just bodybuilders, everyone, you, every single person, a baby, everybody needs protein, because everybody is building new cells day in and day out, 24/7. Your muscle tissues, your cellular body, your heart, your intestines, everything is a cell. It's all that's what we are. We are just these walking, talking bacteria and cellular bodies. So the absolute best food for your muscles and for building a healthy cell is protein. So basically, protein is what builds the cell. It's like building a house. You can't build a house if you don't have the frame, if you don't have the structure. So you have to build the structure first in order to bring things in and out of the home. Okay? So muscle is the most metabolically active tissue in the body, and it's also the most abundant in the body as well. So unless you're obese, then you have more fat than muscle. So we got to get rid of the fat. But just know that the muscle is the most abundant form of tissue in the body. And the good news is that if you want to lose weight or tone your body, muscle is also the hungriest tissue in the body. So I mentioned a moment ago that the figureFIT workouts are 1-2 punch, and I would always say that because you're building muscle, and muscle is hungry. So when you start to build muscle, you're going to find that you're actually maybe a little bit hungrier. So it makes sense that more muscle tissue you have, the faster your metabolism will burn. And this is why strength training and doing any sort of weight-bearing exercises is so important, because it helps to build a lean body with lean muscles. Protein helps to stabilize your blood sugar. So we like to build meals first with protein, number one, and then choose our sides, vegetables, and if we're going to have a carbohydrate. Protein strengthens and helps to maintain your immune system. Protein enhances cell metabolism, therefore increasing your metabolic rate. Protein also helps to build lean muscle tissue, like I just said. It's the structure. It's the building block of every new cell. Protein helps to build muscle, which increases your metabolism. Yay! Yay for muscles! I do that all the time in my classes or in my videos in the figureFIT workout. I'm like, yes, muscles. I love them. They're good for you. Protein encourages hormone production. Okay, this is glucagon. And protein helps to balance body fluids. Protein promotes enzyme production. And when your metabolism raises, you burn more calories even when you are resting. So when you're sleeping and you've been doing these figureFIT workouts regularly and you're building muscle and you become a fat burner, you're burning fat in your sleep, which is amazing. All right, guys. So what carbohydrates are good for me? So we always hear that carbohydrates are the bad guy. And, They absolutely can be, but it is so much deeper than that because carbohydrates, actually all foods, but mainly carbohydrates, break down in the body, and sometimes they're made from longer chain molecules. So I'll get to that in a second. And those longer or shorter chain molecules can be good in our gut or bad in our gut. So we're going to talk about this a lot over the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to tell you a couple different stories. And also, in the group, you might be hearing from different people of what they've experienced. So carbohydrates are an important part of our diet. We have to have glucose in our body, but that does not mean we have to have a lot of it. And it doesn't mean ever that we have to go load up on it and have crazy cheat meals. And that concept is so asinine, it's not even funny. It is now, and now you know, okay? Now you guys know that is just not needed. We don't need that. There might be a day when we're going to talk about this in the fat loss part for people who are doing a fat loss mission or fasting where you might need to replenish with some carbs just to trick your system. But we'll talk about that later, okay? So good carbs versus bad carbs. Now, carbs are carbs, and they are the body's primary source of energy, but I told you earlier that the body can also operate off of ketones. And ketones are just a more sustainable energy source, and that's when you're burning ketones, which is fat, for fuel. So carbs, good carbs, are part of a healthy diet, and they should never fully be avoided. Even in the keto diet, you still have to have some carbs. But it's really important to understand that all carbohydrates are not alike. They can either be called bad carbs or good carbs, like, complex carbs are good and simple carbs are bad. And this is all based on how they are broken down in the system. So a complex carbohydrate, like a whole grain or a legume, which is a bean, or even a peanut is a legume, are longer chains of sugar molecules and glucose molecules. So these usually take more time for the body to break down and use them. This in turn provides you with a more even amount of energy during that process. Complex carbs are considered good because of the longer series of sugars that make them up and then take the body more time to break down. They generally leave you with a lower glycemic load, which means that you will get lower amounts of sugars released at one given moment, and it won't be a big surge. It'll be more consistent. So instead of the peaks and the valleys that I talked about earlier on the roller coaster, this can keep you, a complex carb can keep you more stable, okay? Picking complex carbs is it's more simple than when it comes to your meals. And actually, it's like have brown rice instead of white rice, or have wild rice instead of white rice. Have, and I don't buy into this, have whole wheat pasta instead of plain white pasta. That's just an example of which one would be better for slower to break down in the body. Not necessarily better for you, but slower to break down in the body. Simple carbs are composed of simple to digest basic carbs with little real value for the body. So like sugar, okay? The higher in the sugar and the lower in the fiber, the worse the carbohydrate is for you. Fruits and vegetables are actually simple carbohydrates, still composed of basic sugars, although they are drastically different from other foods in the category, like cookies and cakes. So obviously, if you're having a sweet tooth, you want to have berries over cookies and cake. Makes sense? It's man-made foods we want to stay away from. Now, the fiber in the fruits and the fiber in the vegetables is what changes the way that the body processes these sugars. It slows down the digestion. So when you just have like gummy bears, for example, that is a simple carb, and so is a berry. But the simple carb of the gummy bear is going to be a flood of glucose to the system with no nutritional value and no fiber, whereas the berry is going to offer you vitamins, minerals, and also fiber. Okay, so not every carbohydrate is the same. and should be treated the same. The most important simple carbohydrates to keep out of your diet forever include soda, candy, artificial syrups, sugar, white rice, white bread, and white pasta. Potatoes, those are technically a complex carb, but act more like simple carbs in the body. Pastries and desserts. So these simple carbs are really just flooding your blood with glucose, and then your body is forced to work at getting rid of that. So let's talk about the glycemic load factor. The glycemic index of a food basically tells you how quickly or high your blood sugar will rise after you eat this carbohydrate as compared to eating like pure sugar. So the lower the glycemic load, the healthier that food is for your body. And you will tend to feel fuller longer after eating that. Now, most, but not all complex carbohydrates fall in this lower glycemic load index category. It's easy to find a list of foods classified by their glycemic index, and you'll see the difference between the glycemic index of some simple and complex carbs in these examples. So, white rice, brown rice, white spaghetti, whole wheat spaghetti, cornflakes, 100% bran whole grain cereal. Okay, so the glycemic load in those, the higher it is, 100% bran whole grain cereal is 38. So when you take this approach a step further, you want to look at the glycemic load of a food. This does not only account for the glycemic index, but it also is the amount of carbohydrates in a food. And a food can contain carbs that have high glycemic index, but if there's only a tiny amount of carbohydrate in that food, it won't really have much of an impact. An example of that would be watermelon, which of course tastes sweet, but is mostly water. So it's a high glycemic index, but it's mostly water. So it's really not that bad for you. The bottom line here with this is just be sensible about the carbs that you do choose. Focus on healthy carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates. If you eat whole grains, I'd like to stay away from whole grains. But this program manual is offered to help people who do eat whole grains. Select berries, select good fruits, and in-season fruits and vegetables is really the key here, you guys, and to get the energy your body needs every day. Now, I'm not going to go into this in terms of a program here, but one of the things that you really, really have to take notice of is and start to learn about is lectins. Lectins are a part of a plant that protect the plant from invaders, okay? So for example, the skin to the almond, which is what I talked about earlier, is a lectin. But a raw or a shaved almond, the lectins are gone. So therefore, when it gets in your digestive system, your body is not having a hard time breaking that down. And lectins across the board are problematic to our body because lectins are a defense system. They're an anti-nutrient, so they block the vitamins and minerals from getting into your body, okay? An anti-nutrient is something that blocks the vitamins and minerals in your digestive system, and therefore it's preventing you from getting the nutrients you need. And this is why people who are vegetarians, who are vegan, who even some paleo people who have been eating lectins are sick because of who have been eating, like, for example, almonds are sick. It's because of the skin on the particular food that you are eating. Okay. Now, if you were interested in this, I would look up, what's his name? Dr. Stephen. Oh, I can't remember, you guys. Mudry. Just look up low lectin diet, and you can kind of search for low lectin foods. And people who have autoimmune disorders absolutely want to make sure that they're staying away from low lectin foods or from lectin foods. We'll talk about this a little bit more next week on the gut healing protocol. So here we go. Let's talk about healthy fats. So when you're avoiding sugar and you're avoiding certain carbs, what is important is to really, really have really good fats, okay? Essential fatty acids helps to aid the brain and the heart. Now, let's go back to the cell. The protein builds the cell. The fats transport nutrients in and out of cells, and so does insulin, but fat does that too. And the carbs are like the energy, but also fat does that when it breaks down into ketones, okay? So what we want to do is we really want to start to learn about good fats and stay away from bad fats. So unsaturated fats include polyunsaturated fatty acids, and monounsaturated fats. Both mono and poly, when eaten in moderation and used to replace saturated or trans fats, can help lower cholesterol and reduce the risk of heart disease. Now, polyunsaturated fats found in vegetable oils like canola oil and sometimes sunflower oil help to lower both blood cholesterol levels and triglyceride levels. Wait, is that right? Fuck, I don't think it is. Okay, let me try this again. Polyunsaturated fats found mostly in vegetable oils help lower blood cholesterol levels and triglyceride levels. One type of polyunsaturated fat is an omega-3 fatty acid, which potential heart health benefits have gotten a lot of attention. So omega-3s are found in fatty fish like salmon, even sardines, trout, catfish, as well as flaxseed oil and walnuts. Okay, and it's fish that contains the most effective long chain type of omega-3s. The American Heart Association recommends that we have about 2 servings of non-fried fatty fish every single week, you guys. Okay, so let's talk about monounsaturated fats. So monounsaturated fats are typically liquid at room temperature, but solidify if they're refrigerated. These heart-healthy fats are typically a good source of antioxidant vitamin E, a nutrient often lacking in the American diet. They can be found in olives, avocados, hazelnuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, cashews, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, olive, coconut, and nut oils. Okay, guys, please don't be afraid to eat fats, especially from good sources. Olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, good nuts and seeds that you can have. So be cognizant of anybody who has an autoimmune disorder. We can talk about what you should and should not eat in our private group page. But like I said earlier, make sure to check out low lectin foods if you have an autoimmune disorder. They are a problem in your body. All right. So, all right. One of the things also I want to mention here is you're going to notice that you can eat full fat dairy during this program because the body will respond to a low fat and fat-free dairy similar to the way it responds to sugar. So if you want to make your detox even more advanced, eliminate all dairy. And this does not include almond milk since that's not a dairy. Neither is cashew milk or coconut milk. They're not a dairy. They're not from a cow, okay? All right, let's talk about fiber. This has a recommendation for men and women here. And I find that most of the time, people are just not getting the amount of fiber that they need. You will hear fiber often as called bulk or roughage, whatever you want to call it. Fiber is so important, and this is the longest section because fiber it comes in carbohydrates, and we need the good kind of fiber. We need the kind that is going to be helpful. So the difference can be seen between the two categories here below: insoluble and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber dissolves in water to form a gel-like substance. Sources such as oats, beans, peas, soybeans, apples, bananas, berries, barley, some vegetables, and psilocybin. Okay, so insoluble fiber increases the movement of the material through your digestive tract and increases the stool bulk. And this kind of fiber comes from whole wheat foods, bran, nuts, seeds, and the skin of some fruits and vegetables. Now, that can bind you up, cause constipation. So it's really, really important to know about fiber, the different types, and what you're eating. Here are a couple different recommendations for women and men. The average American daily intake of fiber is way too low. It's normally about 5 to 14 grams for the average American. And this is not including people who are health conscious and focused. The current recommendation from the National Academy of Sciences is that people between the ages of 19 and 30, for men, that it's 38 grams per day. And it's the same for all the way up to 50. So 19 to 50, really, 38 grams per day. 51 to 70, it's about 30 for men. Women, 19 to 50, you're also looking at about 38 grams. And men, you're looking at, or women, 51 to 70, you're looking at about 30 grams as well. So what I want to talk about next is, are you getting what you need? Now, the importance of fiber goes way beyond the scope of this program, but I need to address it because if you're not going to the bathroom daily, there is something wrong. And if you're going to the bathroom too much, there's something wrong, and we need to get that figured out. And we would need to talk about that further, either on a mentoring call or, maybe like a private coaching session outside of this program. If you have, massive digestive issues, we may need to do one-on-one coaching. So let's just go ahead and talk about a couple different things that you can do to help yourself understand fiber and really make this process easier for you. So when you're increase it slowly so that you can prevent bloat, gas, or even diarrhea, because all of those things can happen, including constipation. Add fluids, drink enough water, especially with a high fiber diet, because what you have to do is really fuel with water the fiber that's adding bulk into your system. Like I said before, that will cause constipation. So you really want to get into the habit of drinking water all throughout your day. Don't go overboard. Don't try to eat too much fiber. Sometimes it can cause some serious upper GI distress and gas, and really you just got to watch what it is you're eating. And I would also recommend only adding one type of fiber at a time. So pay attention to how your stomach feels and how your bowel movements are coming along. A little here, a little there. You don't need all the fiber in one meal, and I would recommend not doing that as well. Just kind of making sure that you're spreading out fiber throughout your day and throughout your week as well, and drinking plenty of water. You can have flax seeds, nut seeds on your salad, cereals, soup, yogurt, and things like that when you can have it. Keep frozen blueberries, strawberries, or raspberries in your freezer. You can add those to oatmeal, granola, shakes, and that's helpful for adding fiber and vitamins and minerals. Have cut up veggies. Beans and peas go a long way if you're going to be eating those. And have as many veggies as possible with your meals. Really, there's no limit with vegetables usually, except for things like Brussels sprouts, because those are actually more dense and have a higher protein content. So if you tend to get bloated or gassy from raw vegetables, then you can take a Beano, which is just a little pill you can get at the drugstore with your meal, and it will greatly reduce the effect that any sort of gassy foods will have on you. But more importantly, I want you just to be aware of what is causing the gas so that we can get rid of that. All right, there's no easy way to develop new eating habits. You guys, this is really just trial and error and figuring out what works for you. Okay, so fiber for weight control, fiber for controlling diabetes, fiber for preventing heart disease, and fiber for bowel movement. So you guys read through this at your own leisure. I really have talked quite a bit about this, and fiber is so important. Like I said, it's really beyond the scope of this program, but I want you to read through this and ask any cues that you have in our private Facebook page, all right? It's really important. This is one of the things that you've got to get a handle on is your digestive system, and it's not all about fiber. A lot of times it is what is happening in your gut. And we're going to talk about that next week. So a lot of my problem when I had chronic constipation for the first half of my life was that it was absolutely the foods I was eating. I was having plenty of fiber, but it was other things that were causing problems. And so we will talk about that next week. But you guys, for now, just read through this and get a really good understanding about why fiber is important and how much you need, and start to try and get that into your diet. Now, right here it says fiber for preventing or treating constipation, physical activity and constipation, flaxseed, spinach, and all this stuff. So I want to mention this real quick. But if you're constipated, just adding fiber is not going to help you. Actually, it could make everything worse. So it's important to really get an understanding of the nutrition science aspect of what we're doing here, what foods we're eating, and what they're doing in the body. And this, you guys, is what we're here for in this healthy part of this program. Because the food, when it breaks down into a mono, a di, or a poly, that means it's taking longer in the system. We talked about that in terms of complex carbohydrates. And when it's breaking down in the body, in the small intestines, there is bacteria that is feeding off of what you just ate. And the longer it takes to break down, the more of that type of bacteria is growing in your system. So different carbohydrates, different fibers react differently in your gut, actually fuel a certain type of bacteria in your gut. And I am an avid cheerleader for having enough fiber, but in the right forms. So vegetables mainly. I do not eat whole grains often, if at all. And if I do, I really am trying to make sure that none of the stuff I am eating has lectins. All right. So this is really important for you to really just hear my words and take note of all of the things that are on the yes list here. And then also, if you do have an autoimmune disorder, you guys, I want you to look up that list of lectin foods. And I can even actually post it. I have it. I'll post it in our private group page. So here's some tips. Always remember to build your meal around protein and vegetables. They should be your focus. This is what we do. So healthy spices and yummy oils and good fats are going to make a fantastic meal. Do a food prep on Sundays or Saturday or on a Wednesday or whatever day you can do it. Make larger batches of food that you can eat off of for a couple of days. If you love bread and are normally used to enjoying bread or a sandwich, make a salad instead and throw a ton of ingredients into that big, huge salad. Chicken, eggs, avocado, nuts, seeds. Make a dressing of your own. We've got a recipe in here for that. You eat raw veggies or roast them. I've got some recipes that I can post in the private group page. And you guys, you're also all welcome to post healthy recipes that you found. Do I want you to do that? I'm not sure if I want you to do that. I want you to be super careful with that if you do. And if you do find a recipe that is allowable, we'll probably just kind of look it over and have to scan those. So yeah, just if you're finding your own recipes, just make sure that it's ingredients from the yes list, okay? And then boil some hard eggs. Have something like a good protein on hand for you to grab. Get plenty of sleep. Get plenty of stress relief. Do yoga. Meditate. Do pranayama, which is breathing exercises. Drink water all day long. Be prepared. Have the right foods. Have tea. Have carbonated water if you want. You will feel amazing if you just make sure you're getting enough liquids in your body. Don't overdo it on the coffee. Just make sure you're getting enough water and you're staying hydrated. Exercise and fuel when you have extra workouts or a high intense interval training workout. Okay, guys, are you ready to get started? It is time, and now we're getting into some of the food sources. So I'm not going to go through this. You can look at this on your own, but this is vegetarian protein sources. And this is our yes list and our no list, all right? And then the limited list. Now, what I want you to remember here is that if you are working out, it does say that sweet potatoes are on the no list. If you're working out, you can have a little bit of a sweet potato before or after your workout, like a half, or you can kind of figure out what you need based on your carbohydrate intake. And also beverages, no wine, beer, or anything like that, okay? Now down here, here's some fats and oils that you can use, and you can also learn a little bit more about the unsaturated and saturated fats. So saturated, remember, is not the best, and those are gonna, we want to just kind of stay away from those. We want to have a balance of unsaturated and saturated fats in our diet, but unsaturated fats are the good ones. Just remember that. For hot uses and cold uses, so salads, you use the ones over here on the right for cold, like salads and things like that. And to heat, you can use animal fats. You can use ghee, butter, lard, duck fat, things like that. And those are going to be able to be heated for use in cooking, okay? Now, olive oil, flaxseed oil, those are oils that you want to use in a cold environment. Ditch man-made fats, they're never good for you. Partially hydrogenated oils, margarine, ew, no, cannot have these. Cannot have anything this is partially hydrogenated, okay? Get those out of your diet immediately. And then other unsaturated oils that we want to stay away from are canola oil, corn oil, vegetable oil, soybean oil, grapeseed oil, sunflower oil, rice, bran oil, and safflower oil. Those are unsaturated, unhealthy, highly processed. And that's why they're unhealthy, is they're highly processed in our farming industry today. All right. So here we get into some of the recipes. And you guys, these are phenomenal recipes that you can make over the next couple of weeks. Do some food prep, take the list to the grocery store, and buy the ingredients that you need for a 1-person meal or a 2 or a 5 or 6 or 8-person meal. Just make these in bulk so that you have stuff to munch on during your entire week. Now, you guys, that's all I have for you today. And what I will do is I will answer any questions that you have in the private group page on Facebook. And I am happy to, if we need to do another live call on this in the group page. So this is your training call. And then if need be, based on Q&A, I can do another live call for questions in our private group page. So you guys, thank you so much for being with me here today. And I wish you the absolute best of luck with this sugar detox. I'm still scrolling through these recipes because they look so good. And I want to make some of these. You even have dairy-free chocolate mousse in here. And milk, ice pops. I do have to point this out. There is a recipe in here, and it is wrong. It should not say coconut juice. I think my graphic designer accidentally put that here. It should say coconut. Where's it at? Right here. Coconut milk. You cannot have juice right now. No. Coconut milk is the way to go. All right, so there we go, you guys. This is the sugar detox, the figureFIT sugar detox. If you have any questions, just go ahead and post those questions in the page. All right, until then, you guys, good luck and so much love to you. Take care.